Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Power Selling Podcast. I'm your host, Danna Crawford, the Power Selling Mom, and today we've got a very special guest. I can't wait for you to meet her. She's a darling person and a special friend. So let's get started. Okay, I'm so excited to have you here today. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, Danna. I'm excited to be here. My name is Starr. I'm one half of a selling team. I have a business and life partner, as I like to call Keith. And together we both do this full time.
Nice, nice. So, how did you get started selling online?
Well, about 9 years ago, Keith started selling his collectibles that he had. He was
Okay.
basically switching out. He wanted to buy new collectibles, so he was selling some that he had and then turning that money into new collectibles. We're both nerds, by the way. And he started looking at videos on YouTube and he was learning how you could thrift used clothing and sell it and make money. So he started adding that to his repertoire. And when he was ready to graduate to a store subscription on eBay, he needed a name. And so he came to me and asked for his name, and he didn't like anything I came up with. And at the time, I was obsessed with Fiona the hippo that had just been born at Cincinnati, Ohio
Uh-huh.
Zoo. I love hippos. And after about 10, 15 suggestions, you know how it is. Where do you want to eat? And they shoot everything down. Name my eBay store and they shoot everything down. I
Yeah.
finally just looked at him and said, why don't you call yourself the Hippo Hut? And so he did. All of his stores
Okay.
became the Hippo Hut. And I really didn't pay much attention to what he was doing. He was in a toxic job outside of the home. So he was building himself to replace his income so that he could leave that job.
Okay.
And then in 2017, I was in the healthcare field. I took care of adults with disabilities. And I hurt my back really bad at work.
Oh no.
And I became disabled and I can't work outside of the home anymore. And I can do this. This is something I can do. So he taught me the ropes. He taught me how to sell on eBay. We branched out to Poshmark and Macari together. I have like 4 rolly chairs in my office. We've made this room handy capable so I can do all of this stuff even with a bad back. And it's unfortunate, but it's also like he's such a great guy because he had finally made it to where he could quit his job.
Good.
And so he let me take this over full time. It replaced my income. And for 2 more years, we both worked. He worked his job outside of the home and this, and I worked 12-hour days, 7 days a week for like 2 years. And we built it so that he could quit his job. And the next day, the world shut down and he would have gotten laid off for the COVID anyway.
Oh,
So it happened like almost fortuitously, like when it was supposed to.
wow.
It's a long story,
It's
but it's worth
no,
telling.
yeah, no, that's really amazing. It's like, as they say, one door closes, another door opens, and it's like opportunity just fell in your laps.
Yeah. So, I'm always grateful that he was willing to let me do this full time and still stay at his job. We probably both could have taken it over full time, but we're huge Dave Ramsey followers and we
Okay.
don't have any debt. And we've always followed his budgeting and his finance tips. And we knew that if we took that step where we were both doing this full time, we might have burned through some of our savings.
Yeah.
So he stayed at his toxic job until we could build up more savings and build the business up so we could both quit or he could quit and join me. And then I started social media as a separate stream of income. And because the stores were the Hippo Hut and there's 2 of us and we flip things, we're the Flippin Hippos.
The Flippin Hippos.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, how long have you been selling on eBay?
I started technically in 2017 and he's been doing it since about 15.
Okay. Nice. Nice. So, do you have 2 stores or you have 1?
So we do have 2.
Okay.
One is public
Yeah.
and that's the Hippo Hut. And that's the one that I share my what solds and public information on my socials. And then we do have one that's private
Okay.
that he focuses on with his electronics and bulk buys that he gets.
Sure. Okay. That works out well. So, do you
Mhm.
guys go sourcing together?
Well, we don't really source anymore.
Okay.
A lot of our stuff we get wholesale.
Okay.
We buy, we're kind of hermity. We don't really like to leave our house that often if we can help it.
Okay.
And with the stuff that he sells, we actually refer to them as my store and his store now. So the public store, the Hippo Hut, is my store. It's jewelry and plush and jeans, things I like to do and that I've always shared publicly on YouTube.
Sure.
But the stuff that he gets for his, he also has an Amazon. It's stuff you buy on pallets and in bulk. And then I have found places to buy gaylords of plush and huge boxes of jewelry and jeans. And then I actually only go thrifting once a month.
Okay.
I run our local eBay meetup chapter here
Oh,
in Pittsburgh.
nice.
And we go once a month together to the 99-cent days, and I load up. But most of the stuff is wholesale.
Nice. So you have a meetup group then in Pittsburgh?
I do. It's called the Mid-Atlantic Online Sellers.
Okay, great.
We only have like 4 or 5 people that show up in person. We had a room at eBay Open last week.
You had a kickoff?
Not a kickoff, but we had
Yeah.
the networking room during eBay Open.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I had one too. That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But at one time, there was like 400 people in there. And
Wow.
most of them were from the other side of Pennsylvania, like 4
Oh, wow.
hours away, or in Maryland. So what we're doing starting this month, the 3rd Thursday, we're going to have a virtual meeting on a
Nice.
Zoom call and have everyone come. And then we do 2 in person. We go to lunch once a month just to talk and sit down, and almost like a listing party, but at a restaurant. And then we go thrifting together. Yeah.
Oh, good. Wow, you had that many people. That's amazing.
But like none of them were from here. They're from Lancaster and York and Maryland and New York.
Were you the only Pennsylvania, maybe? Were you the only Pennsylvania group on networking?
I think so. I think we're the only Pennsylvania group, period.
Oh, wow.
There wasn't
That's
one
amazing.
when I moved back from Florida, so I decided to start one.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I was thrilled just having like 60 people show up.
I really think there's a need for one on this up
Oh,
here.
yeah. Yeah. Well, the great thing is when you're having your virtual one and you're getting to know people, you can help someone get one maybe in Lancaster or, different areas that are far away, but yet you could help them get launched to help them out. That would be cool.
I hope so.
Yeah, that would be cool. You could be like
I know a really cool lady named Libby that lives out there.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, I enjoy doing that myself. The eBay, it's really rewarding, even if you have 5 people show up. I'm new to having it in my community too, and only a few people show up, but I still walk away excited about selling, and I still meet people that I didn't know before, so I
You're
like
5
that.
and 3 that always show up, including me. But I really look forward to it. I really look forward to our dinners and our lunches because we can sit and talk about our pain points and how come Macari isn't selling as much since they made their changes, and have you tried free shipping? Or I'm still learning jewelry and one of our girls sells jewelry and somebody's learning plush, and it's just like you can just sit down and really talk. And it's just like when I go to listing parties with List Perfectly, I always hear something I never thought of doing before.
Yep.
Or somebody says something that is an epiphany for me. That's like, I've been doing this since 2017 and I've never thought of putting my coupon code in my auto feedback on eBay. What? Stuff like that is what I come away with. And aside from that, I absolutely learn, and I love to talk to other resellers, but I like having that little bit of social time. Yeah. Even though Keith and I work together, we work on different floors and we're best friends. We were best friends for 10 years, and then we were together for 10 years. So we've known each other for 20. And I say we're still best friends. We still play video games together and hang out together. We like each other, but
good.
We try to avoid always being in the same room all day. Yeah. So we do work on different floors, but he's a dude. Sometimes I need time with girls, So yeah. If you do work by yourself and you don't have a partner, I feel like these meetups, and if you're part of List Perfectly, the listing parties, that's why they're super important, because you're home alone all day. Yeah. And you're probably talking to yourself and your plush or your pets or whatever. Right. And it just gives you time to, I don't know, like reminds me of when my kids are 20 and 23 now, but when they were little and I would be home all day with the little kids, I would look forward to going to the grocery store just so I could talk to an adult while I was checking out. Just to have a conversation with someone. Yes, you're absolutely right. It is nice to get out and talk to people, like-minded people. So I can totally relate. So you just gave a good tip, though, that you learned about coupon code on the feedback. I actually learned that in a listing party. Did you? I'm very excited about it. Yeah. I just learned it at the last crafting party, and I've implemented it. And one person got upset. Oh, really? How did you word it? Just thank you for supporting our small business. Enjoy 30% off your next purchase or whatever fit. Now, here's another tip. if you have free returns on your eBay listings, folks can't leave negative feedback for 2 weeks. They have to have a cool down period. Did you know that?
No, I did not know
They
that.
cannot leave negative feedback for X amount of time. I believe it's 2 weeks. They have a cool down period. So I got one of those backhanded positives. She was more upset that she bought a plus size pair of jeans from a store called the Hippo Hut. She was offended.
Oh, jeez.
I can't please everyone. My store is named literally because I was frustrated with Keith and I was obsessed with Fiona, who is the cutest hippo in the world if you've ever seen her.
Oh my goodness, people are strange sometimes.
Yeah,
But what I do on my feedback is I leave, I'll say like, thank you for shopping with me or something, or enjoy the kitty statue. And then I'd say, give me a shout out on Instagram. And then I'd put Instagram / Danna Crawford. And so I try to build my Instagram that way.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
So that's what I've been doing on my feedbacks.
That's a really good idea. I do have two different Instagrams because I try to keep my worlds separate. I don't want a buyer that just spent $50 on Miss Me jeans to find out I only paid 99 cents for them over here on my reseller account.
Yes.
Well, apparently even the name of your store can be offensive.
Yeah, I understand though.
People are weird.
Yeah, sometimes.
But we've done a really good job of branding the Hippo Hut for all of our stores and selling platforms, and Flippin Hippos for all the social, for the reselling community.
So we can find you on all social media as Flippin Hippos?
Yes. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
And YouTube. So speaking of YouTube, I love watching you on YouTube. They're educational and fun, and you can tell you just enjoy it. So what kind of tips can you share for people that maybe are afraid to get started on YouTube?
Well, the number one tip is to just get started. How do you eat a hippo one bite at a time, right? So just get started. What I used to do when I first got started, you're not going to go live for a while. Most likely you're going to do pre-recorded. So you don't have to be as nervous because you're not live. There's not an audience. Just stare at your wall and act like you're talking to a friend. Just act like you're having a conversation with your closest friend and you're trying to explain to them or show them whatever you're trying to explain or show to us. So if it's a what sold video, act like you're telling your friend, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I bought this for $1 and I sold it for $20. Just act like you're talking to a friend. And if you need talking points, just put them on a piece. If you want to put them on a piece of paper, I'm 10 years old, so I still use paper and pen for everything. You can do like a little notepad on your computer, but just do like your points that you want to talk out.
Okay.
Just like highlights. But if you actually need like a script that you're going to read, which some people do, Chat GPT.
There you go.
That's your best friend.
There you
That's
go.
your best friend. I actually cheated with them yesterday. Please write me a motivational speech for resellers who are struggling with the economy. And it gave me something great.
Wow, that's really good. Yeah, I love ChatGPT. It's a godsend sometimes with coming up with, especially as a blogger, coming up with blog posts.
Yeah.
But well, that's a good tip. Those are good tips for YouTubers. So your YouTube channel is pretty successful. You have quite a good following. And about how long does it take, you think, to build up YouTube? Or what do you suggest? Like, I remember it's so funny because Kat the Nurse Flipper was trying to pick my brain on getting consulting business going. And she wasn't doing YouTube yet. And so she was talking about building up YouTube and all that. And we talked over lunch. And it was so funny now. Look at her. She's just killing it on YouTube. But I remember she did one video a day for like 3 months or something in a row. And that's what kicked it off. And that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, funny you should mention her because her and I did a competition on another YouTube channel years ago.
Did ya?
Like a thrift off game show type thing. And she didn't tell me at the time. We're very good friends. And she told me years later at camp, she said, I have to admit I was so terrified because you were so much she's bigger than me now. Trust me, she's way more successful. But at the time she said she felt intimidated to go up against me. And then she's like, but then I got to know you. And I'm like, that's exactly what I always tell people when you're going to meet me in an event.
Yeah.
I'm just a person.
Right.
I'm just a human being like you guys. It's just that I like to get on camera and talk. That's all.
Right.
I do a video a day, except for I put one on the weekend. So I do 6 videos
Okay.
a week.
Okay.
But I am not as successful as other resellers, and I have never blown up, so to speak, because I don't feel like what I'm putting out there is what's getting watched. You know, I got a Five Nights at Freddy's, the rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
I got the really big one that sold for like $400 one time. I
Wow.
was like, you guys are never going to find this. I'll show it to you, but I'm not going to make it like the focal
Yeah.
point. Here's the Old Navies that sell for $20 consistently. So I
Wow.
just feel like a lot of people that watch YouTube aren't watching it for education, they're watching it for entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, I personally watch YouTube for education. I don't like being wasting my time. I want to be educated so I can move on. Personally, when
Right.
I'm looking for information like how to build some steps for my house,
Yeah, but
I
that's
want to be
few and
taught.
far between, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And then I'll fast forward because there were so many on how to build steps, you know. And so I'd like fast forward in. It's like, okay, I don't want to hear about all the crap. I just want to get to the point and tell me how to do it. So,
Yeah, I'm guilty
so,
of that too. People tell me all the time, you talk too much, you took too long to get to the point. And I'm like,
oh
well,
no.
oh, it's fine. Since I was 2 years old and could talk, I talk too much. I don't know how to tell a short story. Everything is long story with tangents over here and something over
Yeah,
there.
but your fans love you. You have those that are
I'm the Stephen King of YouTubers. I'm
okay.
1,000 pages of character development, and then I'll show you what's old.
Well, and it's October. So this is your favorite month?
It is. This is my time to shine.
Yep. So tell us about your t-shirt. Are you
This is
selling that on eBay or
no, this is from Universal
Horror Nights
or Halloween
2022?
Horror Nights
Yeah.
in Florida. We lived there very briefly, and I went to the Universal Halloween Horror Nights in 21 and 22 and got a t-shirt each year. The other one has the Universal like Frankenstein on it, but this is my boy.
Yeah.
He and I were born the same year in 1978. It is my favorite horror movie since I was 5 years old. You heard me right. Way too young. But um, I had
Fun.
to get the t-shirt. And we were leaving. We went here like a week before we moved back to Pittsburgh in 22 because I had to see Michael. He's my other boyfriend. Oh, he's always the 30th.
Seller events. Okay, so I remember we had an exciting adventure at Camp Listing Party when we attended in Phoenix, and you and I got kind of close.
So yeah, we got stuck in an elevator, folks, with several other people. And I was filming it. We were one of the gals with us. She did get kind of afraid, and I didn't realize how scared she was, or I really wouldn't have
Yeah.
filmed. I'm not like that content creator that's like for the sake of all else, but we did. We got stuck, and between floors.
Yes,
Between
between
floors.
floors.
So Danna calls Clara, the CEO and co-founder of Flips Perfectly. Clara says, "Never fear." Now she's on the other side, like yelling through the doors so we can hear her. And they brought in the fire department, and they had axes, and then we thought they were gonna pry it open, and we were gonna have to climb out.
Oh my goodness, it was silly,
It
but
wasn't
it was
scary
little.
when we were in there, but once I got out, I did start like to cry because it
Yeah.
caught up with me.
Right, exactly. I was like, okay, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic. Like having talks with myself. So that's how I try to avoid panic attacks because I've learned to say, okay, you are in control, don't panic, and have a little talk with my head.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing. So I was trying to put my energy into that other lady who was freaking out, and
Well,
then
you
it
did
was
a
like,
really good job of calming her down and getting her relaxed
yeah,
and calm. And you called Clara, and I'm over there with Dawn acting like a fool. He's like, "Are we gonna die?" And then I'm like, "No, we're
that's
not.
right.
We're not gonna die.
We're
Are we
gonna
stuck between
die.
floors? Are we gonna have to climb out?"
Oh my goodness. So for those don't know, but we were at an event that was a seller event by List Perfectly, and it was called Camp Listing Party in
Mm,
Phoenix, Arizona. It was so much fun. So
yes.
much fun. It was probably the seller event of the year as far as I was concerned. It was amazing. And speaking of seller events, what can you share? You go to a lot, don't you? Seller events?
I did. I used to. So I've sworn them off, but that's not going to last.
Okay.
I went to a lot, and I have diagnosed OCD and anxiety.
Okay.
And I have found I'm not medicated because medication makes me, it makes me feel like I'm out of control and tired and a zombie, so I don't like to take it. So
Yeah.
instead of medication, I have found coping mechanisms and ways to accept that this is the way I am. And if I do things this way, it
Mm-hmm.
won't exasperate it and I can be okay.
That's right.
So
Yes.
flying, not being in my own environment, it's a big deal for me. So if
Okay.
you have anxiety or OCD, I can give you a lot of tips. I have a paper planner that I still use, and I write a packing list, and I literally, this is the type A OCD coming out. I write down from the time I get out of bed till I go to bed every product I use,
Okay.
and then everything I would wear, and then I times that by however many days. And then I
Okay.
highlight each item as I put it in the suitcase. I do this methodically like this because once I'm on the airplane, I'm having an anxiety attack that I left something at home. I'm the
Okay.
person who gets halfway to the grocery store and has to turn around because I forgot to lock the door. I left the oven. I didn't really, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. You think about these things.
so I do that. Once I'm there, I am having the time of my life. Once I'm there, I'm okay. Once I'm at an event and I'm surrounded by my friends, I usually have a roommate because Keith doesn't go.
Okay.
He usually stays behind. He's not social and he's more of a hermit than I am, and he has social anxiety as well. So he stays back and runs the business so we don't have to go on vacation mode ever.
Okay.
And once I'm there and I'm surrounded by everybody, I have the time of my life. But by the time I get home, I'm so exhausted and I don't have any spoons left. You've heard that expression, right?
You don't have any what? Food?
Spoons left.
Any what?
Spoons. Spoons.
Spoons. No. I've never heard that.
Y'all that are listening, you can Google it for a little bit more information. But
Okay.
the short gist of it is everybody has so many spoons a day when you wake up. And for someone who functions without anxiety or any mental health issues, it takes them one spoon to complete like 10 tasks. But someone with my anxiety needs 2 spoons just to go somewhere and talk to people, right? So we run out of spoons and now we can't function anymore.
Oh my goodness.
But you can Google it, like there's this whole theory
Okay.
behind it. And then when I get home, it takes me forever to get back into the routines that I mentioned before that I do to keep myself under control and not any medication. I never regret going.
Yeah.
I love it. Like I said, once I'm there, I'm like,
Yeah, right.
but it takes a lot out of me to get ready to go. And it takes a lot for me to recover. But you're right. For a long time I did like 5 and 22 and 5
Wow.
last year, I think.
Wow. That's
So
a
I
lot.
said no more. And then nobody was doing anything in
Yeah,
2024,
right.
which was a relief. And I'd already decided I wasn't going anywhere next year. On the heels of that, also, Keith and I are looking to go to London in the next year or two.
Nice. I love London.
Never been, but
You'll
there's
love it. It's so
Harry
worth
Potter
it.
stuff, there's Doctor Who stuff for the nerds. So
Yeah.
the money that I would have spent on events, plane tickets, and hotels, we've actually opened a whole separate bank account.
Good.
We think like Dave Ramsey. So we opened a second bank account, or a third because we have business
Yeah.
and personal, but it's a separate one. And we're putting all my event money in there.
There
And
you
that's our
go.
London money. So it's twofold. I needed a mental break,
Yeah.
and nobody was doing anything anyway. But then eBay Open announced.
I know. I know.
So I'll be going to one next year.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, I definitely would choose London over eBay Open. And I love eBay. I absolutely love eBay. But London, I'm not a city person and I don't care for cities. So I was really nervous about going to London. And then when I went, oh my goodness, I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the city and the vibe. And I loved being on that bus, that double-decker bus. And just riding it around. I could ride it around all day.
Yeah,
I think it's fun.
I watch a lot of UK-based TV shows.
Oh,
like
do ya?
Torchwood and Doctor Who, and
Huh?
we love Harry Potter, but I read a lot of UK authors.
Okay.
Some of the best psychological thriller authors are
Sure.
from the UK.
Yeah.
And I'm always
So you
looking stuff
enjoy it.
up on a map when they're talking about stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm
Oh,
so bad.
yeah, you'll definitely love it there. That'd be a dream vacation for you for sure. So
Yeah.
I'll be cheering you on.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We're going to
Um,
probably do that in 26, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, gotta
Don't hold
keep,
us to that though, because we're both, given our druthers, we'd never leave the house.
yeah, it's a long flight. It's not as bad as Australia, but it's still a good 6 hours, flight. But I feel that you're better off flying in the day, like in the morning. People say, "Oh, you should fly at night." And I did that to Australia, but I
Hmm.
don't care. You're not going to sleep. You're not going to sleep on that plane. So I think you're better off going during the day when you've got all of your wits about you, and then you get off and you're tired, but you're not so tired, but yet you can go to sleep. You can go get into a bed and go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I personally always advise people now, after experiencing flying at nighttime to Australia and not being able to sleep, and then landing in Australia at 9 in the morning and be so tired, it's not, it's hard to do it that way, in my opinion.
I've had anxiety, insomnia, and OCD since like high school.
Wow.
And I had a counselor in high school who taught me about keeping a paper planner
Okay.
and sticking to routines. So if you go
Okay.
grocery shopping on Wednesday, you always do it on Wednesday and then you're in control. That's when you go, that's your time.
Huh?
If you brush your teeth and then wash your face, always do it in that order.
Okay.
So my whole life is a bunch of stringent routines, but I know what's happening. I know what's good. I know there's no surprises and
That's right.
it keeps me,
And you're in control.
yes, I'm in control.
That's right. I
Yes.
like that. Yeah, I get it.
And
I
that's
get
why
it.
I do all my filming in one day and all my listing in one day and all my photos in one day because I have to have that tedious routine and I have
Yeah,
to just like autopilot while I work.
right. I like
Yeah.
that. That makes total sense.
Yeah, and I love going to these events. My God, they take it out
Yeah,
of me.
they do. Yeah, they take it out of anybody going. It
Yeah.
definitely wears you out. Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay, so for someone that's just thinking about going to a seller event for the first time, besides being organized, I think that was a good tip, to be
Mhm.
organized and to plan out. I like that your idea on planning out ahead of time.
And you can reverse that packing list so you don't leave anything all
Yeah,
the way away in Vegas or North Carolina or wherever you
right,
are.
right.
Look at the itinerary. So if you're going to like eBay Open or Camp, which was the event of the year, I have been to a lot of events. If you haven't picked on up on that, and Camp is the best one I've ever been to.
It's great to hear.
The way it was organized, the camaraderie, it's just a great community. Well, it's
Right.
perfectly like the best community to be a
It
part of.
is.
But look at the itinerary and highlight or put into your phone, whether you're a dinosaur or Gen Z, whichever you do, but make notes of which events you want to not miss. And you can plan your day around that. If you have people in the community that you already know ahead of time, you can make plans outside of the event as well.
Yeah,
There's people that do this. I don't know
yeah,
how y'all do it, but there's people that go and don't know anybody, have never met a
yeah,
soul, and they just show
right.
up and they're like,
It's me.
but then if you're one of them, just start inserting yourself. If you
Right.
recognize somebody from YouTube or Instagram, I guarantee you there's not one of us that is on social media that does not want to meet you. We want you to come over and be like, hey, just
Yeah.
insert yourself. Be like, yo, Star, I watch your YouTube. Where are you going for dinner tonight? And I'll tell you, Whataburger, you want to come? I mean, people are really, really, really friendly at these events. So
Yeah.
just plan your itinerary ahead of time. If you're going somewhere you've never been before and you do have folks you can make plans with, for example, if you go to eBay Open and it's in Vegas, there's outside of the Vegas stuff, there's the Zach Baggins Museum for people who like horror. There's a mob museum. There's a video game museum. There's a record place Doug talks about. A music, I'm not into that, but
Yeah.
there's something for everybody that's outside of
Yeah.
the Vegas stuff.
Kind of break away a little bit.
Yeah. But don't be afraid to just walk up to people. I'm the first one to tell you there's not a single one of us. But I will also tell you a lot of people who are on YouTube do have social anxiety and aren't so good with the people. And it's surprising because you're like, I watch you on TV and you're so good. And it's like, yeah, in our office talking to our wall, we're great. But around people. So if a YouTuber looks uncomfortable or has the resting bee face, they're probably just internalizing and trying to be in a crowd, but they still want to meet you.
Uh-huh. Okay, good tip.
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
I mean, I sit there and I look like a grumpy puss, and I'm not. I
Oh,
just look that
I
way.
bet. I bet not. So you talked a little bit about List Perfectly, and I know that you do a lot with Listing Party, and you're very active in the List Perfectly community. So as far as using List Perfectly, what are some of your favorite features?
That's really hard for me. I've told you before, it's like asking me to choose a favorite child or a favorite Stephen King book. It's
Good
hard.
comparison.
Like, I came on board in 2019. I met Claire and Amanda before there was a List Perfectly. So it's come so far that anything that isn't one by one and manual without a catalog is pretty fantastic. I would have to say I have two. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
The background remover,
Hmm.
without a doubt, for anyone with a bad back or any kind of disability, the List Perfectly background remover is not only game changing for your business, but it is life changing for you and your energy levels and your pain levels. I don't have to drag out those big lights anymore or have that
Yeah,
big pull with the white paper that you pull
right.
down. There used to be like this whole half an hour of dragging, and Keith would help, but it still took a lot out of me. I just remember it took like 30 minutes to set up and 30 minutes to
Yeah.
break down. And now I can have my TV here and put,
Mhm.
oh, my phone's plugged in. Okay. Put my plush here and take a
Mhm.
picture, and that TV goes away. So there's no more dragging things out, setting things up, putting stress on my back and causing myself pain, because I can just roll my chair over and put stuff on a table. It doesn't matter what's in the picture.
That's right.
It
That's
doesn't
right.
matter. Like where we take our shirts and dresses now, we have a command hook on the wall.
Hmm.
We put stuff on a hanger on, and then we hang it on the command hook. The printer, my desk, the door jamb, it's all in the picture, and it all gets removed. So my productivity has increased because I'm not straining myself or causing pain. Like I can last longer to take more pictures.
Sure, sure. So
Told you I
that's a
talk a
good one.
lot. But for me, it's not just how good the background remover is, it's how it's increased my ability to take more pictures because I'm not wearing my back out sooner.
Right, right, right. That's a time saver.
Yeah, it sure is. And it's beautiful. Like I can have a whole true crime TV show with a serial killer in the background and a cute little Disney plush. And it just takes out all that stuff and just shows you the plush. But my second favorite is the new Listing Express AI.
Yes.
And that I don't even really think needs, the AI is better than eBay's AI.
Yes,
I will
it
die on
is.
that hill. It's the best AI I've ever, it's better than ChatGPT, it's better than eBay. And I think it's because the AI with List Perfectly was coded and written by resellers
Right. With the
for
right words.
resellers.
Right, right.
So
That's
it's
right.
creating listings that resellers would actually say themselves, but maybe more professionally or more succinct or with a little bit more humor, whatever you're selling. And I like to tell people that because they don't realize List Perfectly, the entire company is made up of resellers.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
not some CEOs from some other company that just decided, let's market to no. Claire and Amanda were resellers. You still are a reseller.
Yep.
Trish, Doug,
Yep. Everybody is.
everybody.
Yeah.
So
So what's your favorite tone?
I actually have a favorite, but I don't really use it. I use professional most of the time.
Do
I
you?
like very short, succinct. For stuffed animals and like Halloween stuffed animals and stuff, I will use funny.
Okay.
Very funny, actually. But you can type in your own tone. And so I've been typing in Stephen King and
Oh,
Halloween
have you?
just to play around. I haven't really listed a lot with that. There was like what are they called? The little red raccoons, red pandas. I had a
Oh,
red panda plush and I did Stephen King on it. It was really cute. So I just went ahead and used it. But those
fun.
are two that you can type in if you have Halloween type stuff or spooky
Okay.
animals.
Good tip.
And I did a surfer on some turtles I had from Finding Nemo.
Oh, okay.
It was cute. It was like, hey, dude.
Surfer dude.
Yeah, I play around with it a lot, and I have favorites, but they're not anything I would use when I'm listing jewelry or whatever. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
My favorite is storyteller. I use that one the most with my items. I like having the story, like if it's a concert t-shirt or I have collectibles or posters or paintings and things like that. I like hearing a little story. And it's so creative, the
it
AI.
is.
So creative.
Yeah, and you
But
can pick a tone to match what you're listing. Like you said, you pick
yeah.
storyteller. If I'm listing Toy Story plush, I think I saw them do during eBay Open in their room. They had a Toy Story plus and they typed in animation as a
Uh-huh.
tone, and it was really cute what it came out with.
Oh, nice.
So you
Okay, I'll
can,
have to experiment with that on the adding your own tone. I've been just always in a hurry and I just go with what they have. So I may give that a try. Good tip. So do you
yeah,
have a coupon code for List Perfectly?
I do. It's going to be surprising what it is.
All right, let me guess.
It's Flippin'
Hippo,
Hippos.
Flippin' Hippo. So how
Yes.
do we spell that?
FLIPPINHIPPOS.
Perfect. So there's an S on the end. Flippin' Hippos. I like that. So, and if you type in Flippin' Hippos, you'll get 30% off the first month of List Perfectly, off any of the plans. And Listing Assistant, Express Lister is on all of the plans now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
being offered. So even the $29.99.
Yes.
So give it a try, but
Yeah.
the Pro
And
Plan
if you're on the
Plus.
fence about it,
Yes.
I have a playlist on my YouTube channel that has tutorials in it.
Oh,
And it
good.
shows you everything because people don't understand that it's more than a cross lister.
Yes.
All the things that you can do, you can have it put separate footers and descriptions on different platforms. You can have it stop you from putting in terms that will give you a VRO. You can manage your inventory. You can share your Poshmark closet, which I just added 3 tutorials yesterday about Poshmark. So if you're on the fence, go look at my playlist. Our
Yes.
YouTube is also called Flippin' Hippos.
Flippin' Hippos on YouTube.
And you can see all the things it can do for you. And it might change your mind because you might see something that is it for you.
Yes.
I feel like everyone that uses List Perfectly has that one thing that's it. I need this in my life.
Yeah.
And then if you, from the YouTube, branch out, follow me on any socials or join my Facebook group, I give out a free month every Friday on different platforms. You'll never know. I jump around. Sometimes it's TikTok, sometimes it's Instagram, sometimes it's in my group. But every Friday, I give out 1 month free.
Wow, that's fantastic. I did not know that.
Yes.
Okay, so everybody head on over to Flippin' Hippos and get
it's
set
not,
up.
there's no contract. Like if you try it for the month for free and you don't like it,
Yeah.
they're not going to hold you down and make you stay. You can
Oh,
leave.
right. They won't bill you.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I like about List Perfectly, if you need a break, I should mention this too. I'd be remiss if I didn't because you know, a couple years ago I moved to Florida and then we moved right back because I know you live there, but it's not for me. I need my seasons.
It's not for everybody.
You can leave for a little while if you need to, if you're moving and you don't want to pay for a month of List Perfectly. You can leave and not pay that month. And when you come back next month, all your listings are still there.
That's right.
They stay there forever.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's a good point that people forget to mention that because, you know, and especially if you're traveling or you have a life change like moving, you know, that's perfect because then you can shut down your store, you can shut down everything, but all of your listings are still there at List Perfectly. They don't get rid of them. And we know how they like to disappear on eBay.
Yeah.
They just evaporate.
They just disappear. And that's another thing List Perfectly is good for if you're doing an inventory audit. You don't have to go pull the item and re-photograph it and start from scratch anymore. You just push it back out on eBay. And the same with returns. When you get returns, you can just push them back out.
That's right. That's right. Great tips.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much I love about List Perfectly. You're like, tell me your favorite. And I'm like, do you have 2 hours? I couldn't run my business without it.
There you go.
I'm spoiled at this point.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have List Perfectly, I think I would probably only be on eBay and I wouldn't list as much as I do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Starr, and I'm glad that you're such a fan and an advocate for List Perfectly because I love List Perfectly too. So I'm glad to know I'm not the only one that uses it and wouldn't change. Even if I didn't work for them or they didn't sponsor me, I would still be using them because I need it for my business. It saves me so much time. So I can relate.
It's like having a listing assistant.
That's exactly right. You said it. It's like having an assistant.
And if you do have employees or assistants, or like when it's Keith and I, it's also great because I can be up here on the 3rd floor taking pictures on my phone, running them through that express lister. He's down a floor on his laptop, grabbing them and pushing them out as quick as I'm.
That's right. That's right. I just took on, I partnered with my daughter-in-law, Becca Hustle. So now we have a partnership. So we have the consignment business. I brought her on board and now that's exactly what we do. She gets them going, and then I shoot them out, and it's nice having a teammate.
Yeah, and you can both be on at the same time.
That's right. That's right. In one
And
room and
then
the other.
Keith can he can sign out of my eBay and sign into his eBay and use
Yes,
the same list perfectly.
that's right. That's right. And without any interruptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this has turned into
Okay.
a list perfectly commercial.
I know, right? Right. But it's part of our reselling business. It's part of our reselling life. And we only promote what we believe in and use and love. So what do you do?
It's an integral part of my business, but 99% of my friends are in the List Perfectly community. And if they're not yet, they're going to be.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of the List Perfectly community, I've got my listing party shirt on, and you do it. I know, I've got black and gold pom poms. How about that?
Neat.
You would like those for Halloween, wouldn't you? But what can you share? Because I know you're very active in listing parties. So tell us about how it works and what kind of parties do you like to attend and host?
So listing parties is something that's included with every subscription on List Perfectly. And people say this all the time, but I also agree. The subscription price that you pay for your List Perfectly, the listing parties themselves are worth the money.
Yeah.
So you go to listingparty.com and you go to events, and there will be a list. And there is everything from come hang out and talk about serial killers to come learn about jewelry to I'm having technical issues, and you can talk right to Patrick, who is the IT guy. That's what I call him. He's an IT guy with List Perfectly. Trish does morning motivational. Doug does nostalgic music and videos and toys. I mean, I'm trying to go down them in my head and remember everything. There's Friday night parties where they get together, they drink wine while they list. There's how to sell on Poshmark. There's if you can think of a niche of a type of item you sell or a platform you can sell it on, there's somebody running a listing party to teach you how to do it.
Yes. Yes.
Bottom line.
Yes. And anybody can do a listing party. So if you have a skill or you you know what, I would like to share my knowledge, we encourage you to create your own listing party and we'll all come.
Yes. And there's Zoom calls.
Yes.
And so you can be at your own comfort level. You can have your camera completely turned off and your mic muted, and you can just listen to others and learn. That's right. Or you can turn your camera on and keep muted, or you can keep your camera off and keep your mic on if you didn't have makeup on that day, say. So it's your level of comfortability of how much you want to participate, or if you just want to kind of lurk and listen. And we like lurkers because you're still listening.
That's right.
So they're just Zoom calls. You don't even have to have Zoom installed on your computer. You can just click the link. I run 2 a week. Mine are funsies. So mine aren't so much for work. Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern, I host a crafting party.
Okay.
So everybody brings a craft, coloring book, a puzzle, diamond dot paintings. Some people bring work, like they sew buttons on or they mend stuff that they're going to sell.
Oh, nice.
But everyone brings a craft. We still talk shop. That's where I learned about, that's why I started selling jewelry this year.
Oh, nice.
Was because it got talked about in a crafting party. Because Don crafts his own jewelry there. I learned about the coupon code there. We're crafting, but we're always still talking business. We're always still learning. And then Fridays I do at 4 p.m. Eastern, a true crime and list. So folks come in. Some people do actually list. Some people are actually taking pictures or putting inventory away. But we actually do work in that one. But each week we have a topic specific to this crime or this serial killer. And I try to remember every Monday to post in the List Perfectly group, Facebook group, the List Perfectly Facebook group. This is who we're talking about this Friday, all the shows and where you can stream them.
Okay.
So everybody can come in educated. This Friday, somehow I always send Teresa months ahead of time.
Yeah.
I did pick one for this Friday, so we're going to wing it. But we have talked about every serial killer under the sun. We've talked about current crimes, past crimes, themed crimes, urban legends.
Wow.
So mine are just fun, but I'm actually thinking, I hate when you're only just thinking about something and then you say it to people because now you're accountable, right? But I'm thinking the last Thursday of each month, so once a month, I want to do one on time management.
Okay.
because that's kind of like
Like
my
that.
wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
You know, we could
I
have
did that
different.
once. I did a time management one presentation at eBay Radio, one of their eBay radio parties in Vegas one year. That was my topic. So it's a good topic. People definitely can benefit from time management.
For sure. I mean, yeah, it's my wheelhouse, and I know that I do videos on my YouTube, and people, the questions I get all the time, I'm like, yes, people, and it's okay because not everyone's the same. So I always tell people that, like, just because you see how organized I am, most of that is to offset the anxiety. But I'm just a type A personality.
Right,
It's
right.
okay if you're not.
Right, of
Um,
course.
but you need to, I guess, kind of learn how to rein it in a little, because if you're bouncing all over all day, every day looking for something to do, you're not being productive.
Right.
So you have to find a way to rein it in a little bit.
Yeah,
I always tell people to work on a reward system. So list 10
that's
things and
right.
give yourself 20 minutes on TikTok.
There you go.
Take 20 photos and give yourself 10 minutes of doom scroll time if that's what you want
Yeah,
to do. But you can't. It's okay if that's your personality, but you can't let that be your work day because you're not getting
right.
anything done, is what I tell people.
Yeah, then at the end of the day, you're like, I'm so tired, but I didn't get anything done.
Yes, exactly.
So I can relate. I can totally relate. Back in the day, I used to advise people to get an egg timer.
I
And
still
now we
tell
have our
people,
phone. Now we have our phone. We don't
yes,
need to do that. Hey, Google, set
I
my
still tell
timer.
people to do timers.
Do
I
you?
also follow the Fly Lady cleaning system. Are you
Ah,
familiar with her?
no.
I've been doing her system for 20 years.
Wow.
I found her when my youngest was born, and I had a
Wow.
toddler, and my house was torn up, and I didn't know what to do, and I felt like I was gonna, ah!
Yeah.
So she breaks your home into zones. There's 5 main zones, like areas of your home, and each week you're in a different zone, and you work on decluttering first. You don't clean until you're decluttered, and then if it takes you 6 months of going in that room that week to get decluttered, that's fine. Then you start your deep cleaning. But once you've been doing her for a while, your house looks like you've always spring cleaned, and it's always clean, and you're only spending 15 minutes a day cleaning
Yeah.
versus
I'm
all Sunday.
embarrassed. I got all this clutter. So
That's not clutter, that's work. That's different. My office is different.
that don't count. Well, I wouldn't show you my bedroom either, but anyhow. All right. So, Star, any final words for our listeners?
Any final words?
Yeah.
If you're not using List Perfectly, at least give it a
Okay.
shot. At least try
Okay.
it, and make sure that you set a goal for yourself that's attainable every day. So list 5 things a day, 10 things a day, whatever it is. Don't be lofty. Do not set yourself up for disaster or discouragement. Do what you can do. But if it's too easy, raise the bar.
There you go.
But just be
Well said.
consistent. Just be consistent. Make sure you're doing the work. There's 3 things you have to do every day, every week. You have to ship what sells, source more to list, and you have to list it. That's all you have to do as a reseller. So just do it. That's my favorite saying. There's 3 things you have to do.
Yeah, it's
Ship,
good.
source, and list.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Now that was awesome. Thank you for joining me. I'm Danna Crawford, the Power Selling Mom. Special thanks to Starr Bryson. Go visit her on YouTube at the Flippin Hippos. And a special thanks to List Perfectly. We are true fans and also very grateful for them for sponsoring the Power Selling Podcast. So until next time, happy online selling. Bye.